Hello and welcome to the eighth in our series Reboot Your Career from the 3 Minute Mentor Live. This time is coming to the close to the end maybe of lockdown for some of us, so I thought we'd do a sort of graduation ceremony, sort of try and do a speaker and give the 5 pieces of advice that I think are most useful. If you're new to this series, you can find it on YouTube at my 3 Minute Mentor channel. You can probably still find some of this on Facebook. Please like it, please share it, please tell other people, and with that, let's get on. In our careers, we all get lots of advice, some of it warranted, some of it unwarranted, some of it useful, some of it of no use at all. But I thought I would share with you this morning 5 pieces of advice that I've been given over my time and over my career and see if they're any use to you. You know, all advice should be taken very carefully. As we talked before in these episodes, how things occur to you, how you analyze them, how you see them, the lenses through which you look at them will change what they mean to you. So you may look at these 5 pieces of advice, you may think about these 5 pieces of advice and say they mean nothing to you, and that's okay as well. But if you can strip off some of the lenses, if you can really see what's at the core of this, I think they're useful or at least generally applicable. If you like them, internalize them, use them. You know, we've talked a bit about integrity in these episodes and the importance of acting as a whole system. Many of these pieces of advice really fit into that idea of integrity and a whole system, a way of working. So here they go. And the first one probably won't surprise you if this is not the first episode you've watched before. We're going to talk about Alice in Wonderland. In the Alice in Wonderland, Alice meets the Cheshire Cat, and the conversation goes something like this. Which direction should I go, says Alice. Well, where are you trying to get to, says the cat. It doesn't much matter, said Alice. In that case of the cat, it doesn't much matter which way you go. So the first piece of advice is you've got to have a destination in mind if you want to be successful. If you leave the door to take a journey and you don't know where you're going, then it doesn't matter what direction you take. And I think this is true in life, and this is particularly true in careers. Well, you don't have to decide now, and you can never change it. You do have to have a sense of the direction you're going to go. Is it general management? Is it specialism? Is it one particular industry? Because otherwise you're going to spend a lot of time building your career and focusing on things that really are not a huge value to you. So the first piece of advice is from the Cheshire Cat, which is if you don't know where you're going, it doesn't matter what direction you take. Second piece of advice was given to me on a mountainside in the island of Mallorca. I think I was about 18 at the time, and I cannot tell you, I've never been able to recreate why the gentleman that told me this piece of advice, I only vaguely remember who he was, actually gave me this piece of advice. But I found it incredibly useful, particularly at difficult times in my career. What he said to me was, you should make every decision with your head, but execute them with your heart. So in business, we are going to have to make hard and difficult decisions about layoffs, about what we do with teams or programs or processes. And these decisions have to be made with our heads. We have to go through the logic. We have to know what we're doing and why we're doing it. But that doesn't mean you can't do it in a way that is much more humane, much more empathetic, much more with the heart. So the second piece of advice is make decisions with your head, but execute them with your heart. Make sure you do it in a way that's genuine and empathetic and right for the person. Okay, the third piece of advice actually comes from a television program. There was the end of the last century, 1999, 2000, there was a series written by Aaron Sorkin called Sports Night. It was a really good series. If you can never find it, there are only 2 seasons, but it was really great. It was like a sports program like you might find on ESPN, but it was a nightly news show. And the managing editor, played by Robert Guillaume, says to one of his employees, he says, I've had a lot of experience in life, and here's what it comes to. Surround yourself with people smarter than you. And if you're really, really smart, surround yourself with people who disagree with you. And I think that is really good advice for any of us in business, any of us in a leadership role. You're going to meet lots of situations where you're going to have problems, and surrounding yourselves with yes man or yes women or yes people is going to make it worse. The best thing you can do is put people around you who are smarter than you, who will challenge you and make you think. And don't worry that they're coming after your job. That's a crazy way to work. But find a culture in which they can input and help give you guidance. And by the way, if you're the smartest person in the room, then find people who disagree with you. Because trust me, even though you're the smartest people in the room, you cannot cover every angle. You cannot think about everything. Um, and you've really got to find a way to get all the different opinions in. Okay, the fourth piece of advice we talked a couple of episodes about when we talked about work-life balance. And one of the things I said was that work-life balance really didn't exist. It was all about work-life choices. So the fourth piece of advice is when you've made your choices, you must learn to live with them. So we all have to make choices. Life is just a series of choices. We actually get hundreds of choices a day. But in terms of our career, in terms of our work, there may only be one a day, one a week, one a month that are really significant. Having made those choices, we have to learn to live with them. It lacks integrity to go back and pretend you didn't say something. It's really not helpful to you or your life or your system, keeping that integrity going. So you're going to make decisions, live with them. You can always change your decisions. You can always go back and say, look, I believe this was the right thing to do, but with this evidence, I now believe this is the right thing to do. Or I tried that and I didn't like it, or it didn't work, or whatever it is. You don't have to excuse your changes. You probably have to explain them, but you have to learn to live with the decisions that you take. The last piece of advice, I think, follows on from that. And in particular, it follows on for those people who are struggling with the choices around work and life and tend to predominantly end up picking the work ones. Work is a very fulfilling thing. For many people, well, not many people, for some people, it really drives the center of their life. The reality is, though, it's not the only thing. And the fifth piece of advice is, on nobody's gravestone will you find the words, I wish I had worked harder. What you will find is people who regret not spending time with their family, not spending time with their friends, not visiting places, and not traveling places. So if all you do is live to work, then you really won't live at all. So make sure you spend time with your family, spend time with your loved ones, spend time doing your hobbies, and fill your life with things that are more than work. Because not only will that bring you great joy and comfort, it will actually probably make your work life better as well. Because if all you have is work, then you over rotate and you over focus on work, and that won't be good for you. So I hope those 5 pieces of advice are useful to you. The 3-Minute Mentor website has over 130 different episodes of content, mostly in sort of 3-minute bites. These reboots have been a bit longer. And find that, share it, copy it, send me comments, send me questions. We're probably going to end the weekly broadcasts over these 8 weeks here, but I'll be back with more later. And if you have anything, please let me know. Good luck with your career and have a great life.